Hey, 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 y'all. It's Tony T.C. Coleman with my Drummer Knows Best podcast, an unlimited podcast where I talk about music, drumming, everything with my guests, especially this one today. He can tell me some stuff that I've been wanting to know for a long time. He's a real special guy to me, to my heart, because he and Buddy Miles are the first two singing drummers that I ever want to be like, and he's here today. And ladies and gentlemen, from Rare Earth, put your eyes together and ears together for Peter Rivera. Rare Earth, get ready. Hey, Tony T.C. Coleman, drummer knows. That's what I'm talking about. Subscribe, like, and share on all platforms. Hey, man, Peter, it's good to see you, man.
It's really a nice thing you just said.
Well, it's the truth.
That way, my mom took me down to Coba Hall in Detroit to see Count Basie. And the drummer was on a complete white set of pearl drums, and his name was Sonny Payne.
Yes.
And I was 10 years old. I saw that guy play, and I just knew it right then. I had to have those drums, and that's what I wanted. 10 years old.
Well, I know you're a bit older than me because you were already out there doing it when I was like 14, 15 years old. And I saw you on with Rare Earth.
I was only 9 back then. Though. I was 9. So never mind, sorry.
Well, I was older than you and you were successful. Well, anyway.
Well thank you, man.
But it was the Dick Clark show, and everybody loved Motown, was into the Temptations.
Yep.
And Dick Clark was introducing you, Rare Earth, and you guys, and he was saying that people didn't know that Motown had actually had some white cats on their roster that was a band, and you were like the first ones that came out doing Get Ready, the Temptations Get Ready. And he introduced you guys on American Bandstand.
Yeah, we used to play in the clubs in Detroit every night, 6 nights a week for years.
Mm-hmm.
And we eventually made it to the top club in Detroit, big crowds all the time. And Motown was in Detroit.
Right.
Okay? And back then, Motown was primarily a singles record company. I mean, they had Smokey albums and Gladys Knights and Four Tops, Temps, Supremes. They had all that.
Right.
But they were out there promoting singles. Well, Barry had a hard time in the South collecting his royalties.
Mm-hmm.
It was a race thing. Come on.
Of course.
So he had a guy, Barney Ailes, who was a independent record promo guy in Detroit, Italian guy. So he sent Barney down to get his royalties, and Barney come back with his royalties. So Barry made him the VP of the company.
Okay.
So Barney goes to Barry and says, Barry, there's this new thing out there called album rock. It's rock and roll, but it's album based and it's long playing and it's people from England and it's college rock and all that.
Right.
And we're missing a market share.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we should open up a white division in the rock market. And Barry says, I don't want to have nothing to do with it. You do it. So Barney, he's local Detroit, and we knew him and we knew different people. So we mentioned, hey, so they came to the club where we played. And Barney let us know that he was going to give us 1 week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, from 2:00 in the morning until 9. At 9, you had to get out because the administrative staff come in, and Motown Studios back then was in the same house as the administrative staff.
Right.
So we had to quit the music by then. So anyways, we went into the studio to try this thing out, and we didn't know what to play, what to do. So what we decided to do was the top 5 or 6 songs that we played in the nightclubs. Well, one of the songs was "Get Ready." But
Yeah.
we always played it, 3-minute single version. Unless it was a Saturday night and half the audience was juiced out of their mind, then we would play it for 10 minutes.
Right.
And there were times we played it for 20 minutes. And everybody was just like, yeah, and it was like, okay, I've been playing this riff now for 20 minutes. So we were in the studio, and each guy in the band at the time wanted to sing a song on our very first album. So they did. I had to sing 2 or 3 songs, one of which was Get Ready, but we finished our songs, and the engineer says, hey, man, you guys are 10 minutes short. You got to do more. And we didn't know what to do. So I said, why don't we go do Get Ready and do it like we do when it's a 20-minute night?
Yeah.
Okay. So you take a solo, then you. Hey, just look at each other and make sure we're communicating. So we did, and 20 minutes later, the engineer, he's in the control room and he's waving his arms like, that's enough, that's enough. So we swung into the end of the song. It was 21 minutes and 30 seconds long. It came out, it was the whole side of one album.
Right.
Nobody would play it. Motown didn't know what to do with a 20-minute song. Barney said, I want you to take that song and cut out 3.5 minutes and give me a single on it. So they did. That single sold millions of records, and then the album followed with millions of sales. And now people think of Get Ready as a 20-minute. It was us and a song called Inagata de Vida.
Yeah, of course.
You remember that one? That one was 18 minutes long, but we beat it by a couple minutes. Anyways, won't go to that. But that's how Get Ready came about. And I'll tell you what, boy, when they started playing it, it just kept on getting played all over the country, and we were off to the races. Let's go.
Well, I know when it happened because, of course, I used to listen to the radio stations all the time, but then when Inagata Vita and Get Ready, and then there was also a Grand Funk had Inside Looking Out. They had the long version.
Oh yeah. Mark
Yeah.
Farner. Yep.
Yeah. So after that, like you said, albums were being played where you could listen to go on at midnight most of the time, and they would play the complete album.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you came in right on time with that one, starting that off, because I was one of those millions of people listening to you, and as being a drummer, when I saw Rare Earth, I thought of Rare Earth as you.
Oh,
I didn't realize, but were you considered the lead vocalist for the band at all of the time? Because you're on all the hits.
Well, no, but you see, when I joined the band, I was 16, and all I did is play drums. And little Freddie was the leader of the band. Him and his brothers were both horse jockeys. It tells you what size this guy was. He was a tiny guy, jockey, but he was a sax player and he was the leader. And he'd turn around, he'd look at me, too busy. Oh, okay. Because I'm playing every lick I can think of. I'm 16 with a bunch of guys who are 18, 19.
That's right.
I'm an impressive, so I'm playing everything. He's going, too busy. So I calm down. Too busy. Calm way down. Time goes on. He goes, man, we started to get some club stuff. Now you got to play 5 sets a night, and you got to have songs. So he says, do you sing? I says, well, I don't, I've never sang before. So I did Blueberry Hill.
Mm-hmm.
I found my thrill. Real simple. Right? And the other one was 16 Candles. 16 Candles. And I played the drums while I sang those songs. Well, as time went on, I sang another song and then another one. And pretty soon, I'm singing Tony Bennett, Johnny Mathis, Temptation, Smokey Robinson, Sam and Dave, hold on, Rufus Thomas. I'm singing them all.
Yeah.
Well, I'm singing 30, 35 songs a night. So you asked me how I feel about, yeah, I thought I was rare earth because I was doing all the singing and all the playing. So way back in the beginning, Freddie, the little sax player leader, he says, well, why don't you come out front and sing this song by Dion called The Wanderer?
Mm-hmm.
No, it was Run Around Sue. Here's my story, sad but true. Run Around Sue.
Yeah.
Well, the song starts, but da da boom, da da boom, and Fred can't play it, man. So I tell you, I was sweating and getting all nervous, and what am I going to do? I came back. I said, Fred, thank you. I took the sticks from him. I sat down. I said, from now on, if I sing, I'm going to play the drums
Yes. Yes.
because as as a singer who plays drums, the drummer's going to play whatever I want him to.
That's right.
So anyways, that's now I was locked in now. So everything we did from then on, where I sang, I played, and it was
The
okay.
way the way that worked for me was being a drummer who kind of wanted to sing. When I saw Buddy Miles, that was it. And then I saw you. That was it. Because like I said, I was 14, 15-year-old guy when you guys were out there hitting hard. And you were my heroes, man. You were the first two guys in my
Well,
life that made me want to be a singing drummer.
well, thank you.
And both of you, I don't know if it's because you sing and play, but you had that fat back beat, man. Boom, boom, ba, boom, boom, ba, boom, boom, ba, da, bang, bang, boom, boom, bam, boom, 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 ba, da, bang, bang. I mean, it was like grooving. I never had a wait. Oh man, come on.
See, I never, Tony, I never tried to pride myself on how fancy I could play the drums.
Yeah,
I believe because back when Freddie used to say, too busy, too busy, too busy,
yeah, yeah,
I backed down to where I was going. Ain't too proud to beg. So
yeah.
the groove was the language, the groove.
Yes,
And
yes.
and and and
I
I
love it.
enjoyed the groove because it was a good thing for me to sing to. If I'm trying to do a bunch of fills while I'm singing, sometimes it can get a little bit confusing sounding almost. So I just laid back, played the groove, and sang the song. And I've heard over the years musicians that I really admire because I can't believe how a guitar player can play guitar and sing.
Me either. I don't know how guitar could. BB couldn't do that. BB King couldn't play and sing at the same time.
I don't. I know piano players. I don't know how they can do it too. But they do it effortlessly, and I do my thing. A lot of times it feels like I'm not even working, but I'm working. I'm laying a groove down and I'm singing.
Oh yeah, you working.
So I'm happy with what happened to me, and I'm proud of what I did. Anyways, I love the groove. I always will. And nowadays, I see music. I see drummers out there. I can't believe what the drummers today can do.
Yeah, I know.
I can't do it. I can't even
I
think
can't.
it.
I can't do it.
I can't think it. But I've had really good musicians say, "Man, we just love to play. You make it easy to play because you just hold that groove right there." And I go, "Well, hey, okay, I'll give you the groove. That's it."
And the other thing you had as a singing drummer, but as a drummer, which a lot of cats seem like after that period that excuse me that you started, you had two bass drums.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You had a double kick, not the double pedal. You had two bass drums, and I watched and listened to you. Boom, boom, bam. But you would play the one, but then you would accent on the other one, if I'm correct. And then you would, when you were grooving, then you'd open up on both of
Well, because the thing is even though it's a left foot and a right foot, my left foot was reminiscent of my left hand.
them. Okay.
So when I'm going boom, tap, boom, boom, tap, tap, boom, tap, boom, that da, that's the lefty. And I
Right.
always tried to make them sound the same, and I couldn't make them sound the same. It just was left and right. But I got the two bass drums mainly. I'm going to be totally honest with you. At first, it was for show.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay, it's going to look really cool.
Actually, and I don't mean to cut you off, but actually, a lot of bands had two drums where they didn't even have a foot pedal on
I know. It's just the look.
it.
So I would go, the big ending,
Yeah,
note.
right.
And then when I got into soloing a little bit, I would be like, and then I'd go, I'd stop all the tempo and just see how fast I can get my feet going. And if I can get my feet going, then I go, and I'm just like, okay, see if you can follow this one. Anyways, it was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, of course. And you I see you got
Yeah,
your drums there. You still playing. I saw we played together. Remember we jammed together, you and I.
boy, oh boy, it's a while ago, man.
Yeah, outside of Seattle.
Seattle, that's right. Yeah.
And just here recently, I posted on Facebook my the 10 top drummers the 10 top singing drummers who inspired me. And for whatever reason, I forgot to put your name on there. Boy, you got some fans. They could where to kick my ass, Pete.
Well, hey,
What are you doing? You Peter wrote about Peter Rivera. I said, oh dang, how could I forget Pete?
well, I ran out of money, so I was not hitting their tip jar. So, but that no, life is life, and sometimes, I don't know about other people, but I get to a point where sometimes I think like, well, it was so long ago, but when those things start happening, for some reason, I start hearing from a fan or two or four or somebody, and I think, wow, there's lots of people out there that kind of still remember the rare earth thing. I know that the older people, they remember rare earth. Young people don't even know who Hendrix is. A lot of young people. They certainly don't know who was in rare earth. Even the older folks don't, but they remember rare earth. So when they say Peter Rivera, there's a lot of people that really, they don't know who that is. But if you say, I just want to celebrate, they go, oh,
Another
yeah.
day of Yep.
So it's like the songs are the important thing, the key to the memory, the songs. And then I'm over here going, yeah, I sang that song, and they go,
Did you
yeah.
write that? Did you write that?
I didn't write it, but I produced the vocal pretty much. Little story to that. Nick and Dino, they were Motown writers as well as other writers, and they did Reunited, Peaches and Herb, Shake Your Groove Thing. They wrote all that stuff. Dino wrote I Will Survive for Gloria Gaynor.
Right.
And Dino worked with Freddie Perrins after we had left him. But anyways, they came in with a song, and we were going to go in the studio. We weren't going to record Celebrate. We kind of went, yeah, that's okay. But a few days later, our producer, Tom Beard, says, hey, what about that Dick and Dino tune, that Celebrate thing? Why don't we fool with that? So we put a band track down, kind of liked it. The next night, I came to the studio about an hour before everybody, and I asked Mike, the engineer, I says, give me a microphone. So he gives me a mic. I'm sitting at the control board, and I'm singing this Celebrate thing. Tom Beard, the producer, he comes walking in. He goes, yeah, man, that's exactly what we want on this record. So I finished the vocal in the next 15 minutes. Then we went out and did all the background, the round, did all that stuff. I took part in it, but I didn't write the foundation,
Right. But did you, in the studio, did you play and sing at the same time?
What I did was the band had to learn the song, and so did I as a drummer. I wanted to learn it. So we'd play, and when we knew it was a verse, I'd kind of like, put my hand on a dollar bill, just kind of. So everybody.
But you weren't playing and singing with the mic in front of you, recording.
No, I couldn't, because we dealt with leakage and things like that. So what we tried to do mainly was get the we'd try takes and let's take it again. Okay, and remember the bridge. Okay, remember, let's run over that part. Okay, let's take it again. Well, all of a sudden, we'd make a take and we'd go 3.5 minutes all the way through, and it felt great, but mainly the drums felt great.
Yeah.
It felt great. Now, they could dub in the bass, they could dub in the guitar, they could add
That's
swing,
right.
they could do all this, but the one thing they couldn't really do too often, although we did once in a while, is you don't punch the drums in. You
Right.
you play the groove. So
That's right.
with me, when we finally went, that's a take, you know, and we're all in the room like, yeah. I'm walking away going, my job's done right here now.
Right.
So now I start thinking about vocals and all that. Now, Norman Whitfield, great producer. God rest his soul.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man.
Norman was an intense dude, man. Intense. One night we were doing Losing You, and he comes walking in the studio and he says, what are you guys doing? We said, well, we're doing Losing You. He says, man, you can't do it that way. He says, you kind of got to change. So he opens his briefcase, he pulls out a sweatshirt, he puts the sweatshirt on and a towel around his neck. And he walks up to the bass player and he's doo-doo, 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 and they're grooving. And then he looks at me and goes, that cymbal thing. And I start that cymbal thing. He goes, yeah, yeah. So anyways, it was a head arrangement that lasted about 15 minutes long. And when we left the studio that night, Norman stayed.
Right.
We came back to the studio the next night. He was still in the studio.
Wow.
Edited that song down and chopped it up and moved this and moved. Then he looks at me and says, let's do the vocal. Well, I didn't know what we were going to do on a vocal. And I'll tell you a true story. My brother, Philip, he came to the studio that night with his buddy who just returned from Nam. And in Vietnam, the women there of the native people used to open up the cigarette packs and fill them with weed. And they'd call them Park Lanes.
Okay.
And this guy brought some Park Lane weed back, gave it to my brother. My brother looks at me and he goes, here, smoke this. And I said, what are you talking about? I took a couple hits of this stuff. My head started spinning. And just like that, Norman stuck his head and goes, let's do the vocal. And I just went, the vocal? What the vocal? Well, anyways, we got it done. We did it that night. And so our songs were really built from a foundation. That foundation was almost always the feel of the drums and a lot of times the bass.
Yes, indeed.
We didn't get hung up about the keyboard a lot. He had to play certain parts. And the guitar player, he was a lot of rhythm, but Ray was a beautiful guitar player. It would come up with the greatest funky riffs, man. Just rhythmic stuff. So anyways, it was a joy to play with those guys. We had a great, great time.
So let me ask you a question, Peter.
Anything. I'm talking too much, man.
No, you're not. No, you're not, because we're talking. I just have to say, hey, Peter, what about this and that? We just keep talking, man. That's the only way we're going to find out stuff. I can't anyway. So did you keep your drum tuning the same in the studio, or did you muffle stuff and tape stuff up? What did you do? Was it the same kit? Did you just come in, set it up, and play, or did you have to mute up? What did you do?
Well, everything was quite different. As the first time we recorded, we were pretty green. We didn't know what to do, really. And the engineer says, you got a wallet? I said, yeah. So I pulled out the wallet, and we taped the wallet to the snare head, right? Now, the tom-toms, boom, 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 they weren't bad. So it's just a little bit of tuning. I didn't know how to tune back then. I just went boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
And the snare had to sound tight. And he always used to use the F word. He says, I want that snare to sound like F. And I said, okay. And I'd hit it. And he'd go, nah, a little tight. And I'd tighten up. He'd go, there it is. Yeah. And then in the control room, he's recording that snare with a little $30 microphone.
Yeah.
And here's the sound was there.
Did you have you didn't have each drum a microphone on each drum, did you?
I had a mic on the snare, one mic on the tom toms and cymbals, and then a bass drum mic.
Right.
Everything else was, and you know what? I'll be honest with you. I don't really know because I was in so much into like getting ready for the session that the engineer's running around. He's sticking a mic over here, and I wasn't really noticing what he did. He's the engineer and the player. So, and then we'd record, and he was constantly doing stuff. We were all constantly doing stuff, and finally, it's like there's a take, and then we start building the song from there. But it was very seldom that we ever got together and played and made a take of a song all the way through. Very rare.
The first time I saw you play live, you guys, Rare Earth Live, it was Rare Earth, and the opening act was Freddie King.
Wow, Freddie King. Wow, Freddie King.
I was in high school, and
Wow.
Freddie King, and mind you, I don't want to hear no Freddie King. I've been hearing blues stuff since I'm a child. I can't stand the blues. I don't want to hear no blues, man. I want to hear Rare Earth, man.
Well, we were a little different. I couldn't believe it. We would get a response, a big crowd, and I'd think to myself, what do they see in us? Because the inner workings of the band, we knew each other's, shortcomings and longcomings, and we knew each other very well. And sometimes, I don't know. Sometimes there were times when we would lose confidence in each other, but most of that was due to the fact that the drug thing started and the alcohol thing started. And the sad part about it is when you have a group of guys, at least in my life, 5 or 6 guys, we are brothers, man, and we're tight, and that's what it's all about. Well, everybody goes out, you start having some success, and so the guitar player, he's got a few friends, and they go, well, hey, man, how come he's doing all the interviews and you're not? You have good things to say. And how come he sings everything? You got a good voice. So these things start tugging at the fabric of the band.
Right.
And eventually, if you don't watch out, we did for quite a while. There's jealousy, there's envy, there's all those things that really the Bible speaks against, and you get into it, and it's tough. And I got to a point, I'll be honest with you, I left the band because it wasn't fun anymore, man.
Right.
It wasn't fun. I love to play, but I found myself enjoying playing with other musicians, guys I didn't know. But the guys I knew, it wasn't fun, man. There was too much arguing and too much. Sorry, I don't want to get off on that. But
no, you should get off on that because that's
what
part
happened.
That's what happened. Part of being in a band.
I used to tell them, I'd say, the wave of success turns into foam on the beach. And when you come back down from that successful mountaintop, you better be okay with who you are, because that's all you got left. And if you're phonied up, man, then you got nothing left.
Well, I know about all of that you're speaking of, and
yeah, you do. I know you do.
I've seen, and I've seen it happen. Even with situations with bands I've had that we were a band,
Yeah.
And the what happens is, in my opinion, is the ego thing just gets out of control. The ego, the that has nothing to do with being a band, really. Like,
yeah.
Every band has somebody in the band that's going to have a little more juice than others.
Right.
Like a little more, going to shine a little more than others.
Yep.
And everybody's going to have somebody who's more of a leader. That has and then there's going to be one who has the art part about how to do certain things. it's just you're gonna have all these different people, but what happens is now you forget that all of the parts together is what make it strong. And then, man, when you start getting into arguments about nonsensical stuff and just it's not fun anymore. And basically, we play music because we want to have fun. We want to be happy.
Absolutely, absolutely, 1,000%. That's mainly what it's all about, is to have that fun doing it. And I just, I too many stories. I got too many stories that I'm not going to get into, but I just got to a
Well,
point where I just went, I had 3 little kids. I didn't want to leave them anymore, because why should I
right.
go out here and argue with these 5 guys when I could stay home and love on my 3 kids?
This is important about Drummer Knows Best, my podcast. Not just tell me how you did the paradiddle, flamadiddle, ratamacue, baba baba boo.
Right.
I To be a great musician, you also have to have great spirit with no convoluted bullshit. You
That's
know?
it. Well, here's the thing, man. The drummer, in my opinion, you're a drummer, we sit there, we're in a band, and we're seeing the bass player, the guitar player, the keyboard player, the horns. We're watching them all, and we get to know them all. We know when they're putting out everything they can,
That's right.
when they're giving their soul to it. They may
That's
not
right.
be the greatest player in the world, but if his soul is there, you appreciate it.
Yes.
Well, I'm in a band now. I'm looking around, realizing that there are guys who are benefiting from our success, who aren't trying to be any stronger at what they do or trying to get better. And then they start throwing stones and they say, the reason we don't have another hit record is because the crowd's probably tired of you as a singer.
No.
And I go, no, the crowd's tired of us not giving them new material, something
Right.
that's a hit product. And the only way we made our hits before was we were all in. And now we're not all in. So the hits can't be made by 2 of the 6 guys. It's got to be the band. And we
And
lost that.
that's right. And
that was it.
that's some of the things, like this is important to understand.
Yeah.
Being a musician, first of all, you can't just get an application. I'm a drummer. Oh, okay. Well, we're going to send you over there and drum. It doesn't work that way.
No.
It works based on, especially now, because it's not, when we was growing up, there were clubs everywhere. Every town had clubs, live
Yep.
music. Musicians in the community were friends with each other. Nobody was tripping. Nowadays, you're lucky to find a club in town that even has live music.
I know. It's
And
tough.
then but the whole makeup of being a musician and a band is kind of out the window, because it's all about the front artist person. It's not the bands. They don't even have bands half the time. And you used to be able to look at an album cover, man. I could see everybody in the band, and then I go see you live, and I go, oh, there they are.
Yep.
You knew who they were.
Yep.
But nowadays, you just see the artist. There's no appreciation for the musician. You got managers who manipulate the musicians, and it's sad, man. And
It is.
but that's important to know about how to not allow that to happen.
Well, I don't know how. I look back on it. I don't know. I think I tried everything I could. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I was a little short with it. Maybe if I should have been a little more patient, although I can't remember. Like I say, I got a lot of stories about it. And just when you're dealing with someone on stage, and I won't say who is so drunk that they can't play what they normally would play, and they're making up all this new stuff based on their alcohol high. And you look at them and I go, hey man, can you drop it back a bit? You're kind of walking all over everybody here. And he just looks up and goes, hey man, F you.
Yeah.
And I look back and I go, don't go there. F you. And you say to yourself, if I stand up, I could break every bone in your body, man.
Yeah, yeah, you
Don't
can.
push me that way. And so I don't want to feel that way about him. So I just said, what can I do? I got to quit. I got to get out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I have a band now with musicians. There's four guys here: bass, guitar, keyboard, and me on drums. And we've got percussion.
Yeah.
These guys have been together with me now for many, many years. They never complain about anything. If I say, hey, man, we're doing 4 30-minute sets, they go, hey, will it be okay if we do like 4 40-minute sets?
Right.
It'll be okay. So there's never any problems. And they love each other too. I mean, they say things like, oh, Dave on keyboard, he's unbelievable. Just ask him.
Yeah, man.
It's just everybody's okay now. They grew up.
And the thing that I want you to know is I'm not the only person that's been inspired by you, and just you've gotten older. We all get older. I'm older.
Yeah.
But one thing that I think people don't do in this country, in the United States, because we tour around the world, we have the tendency to look down on people who are older. And you're right, and we have the tendency to go, we need something new and fresh. Well, hey man, if it wasn't for these guys like you before me, you wouldn't have inspired me to want to be a singing drummer and whatever. But you're still here, and we should respect and honor the fact that, man, you're still playing and you still got it, man. But you don't have to be the newest. You know, we have to respect and honor what was laid down before us, and that's something I think we're getting away from, in my opinion.
Well, I agree with you, and I hate old people. No. You see, here's the truth of the matter is,
hey, Peter,
I'm
Peter,
80.
do me a favor.
What?
Peter, do me a favor and look in your other mic, your other
And this
yeah,
one,
right here. Yeah, you're looking up at your monitor up there.
see, my birth certificate and all that says that I'm 80.
You're yeah.
I'm 80. But my heart, I'm like 18, 19.
Of course you are.
I'm where I was when I fell in love playing music and fell in love with the way life was because of how I felt when I played and contributed to music stuff. That's pride and it's all that stuff. I felt good about me then. See, I still feel that way about me.
I know, man. It never goes away.
3 weeks ago, I got married. I went down to the Villages in Florida.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. And in the Villages, these people get together all over the place, and they're older people. But the band up there is a guy named Rocky and the Rollers. I don't know if you ever heard of them, but they're really good. No. It's a horn band. And they play all around Florida in those retirement communities and all that. They play, and they're great. They do a great job. People love them. So I see Rocky from this. We went over, and he says, "Hey, man, come on up and do a song." And I says, "Rocky, you don't know my songs, man. What can I do?" He says, "Come on, man, let's do Get Ready." I says, "You know Get Ready?" He says, "Yeah, we know Get Ready." I says, "All right, what the heck?" I looked at my wife. I'm going to go do this. So I went up there and I did Get Ready. And I'm telling you, man, the crowd, they got nuts over it. Because I don't know if they got nuts because they really loved to Get Ready, or did they look up there and go, this guy's 80 years old and he's still doing this. I guess I don't care what they did. They applauded, and that's all I wanted.
That's part of it, but it's still good. It's still good stuff.
Well, I haven't lowered any of my keys. I still do every song I do, and I still do 17, 18 songs on my shows, one after another. And because when I'm singing and playing, I'm not 80.
No.
I'm 18. So Peter, I'm 20.
Yeah. So Peter, would you consider yourself a singing drummer or a drummer that sings? Which one? Are you equally focused on both?
I must say that I'm a drummer that sings, but sometimes I'm a singer that plays drums. In other words,
Right.
I I've had these buddies of mine that play, and they're really good musicians. They producers and everything else. And I tell this one friend of mine, Dave, he's kind of like my producer. I say, well, Dave, I can get somebody else to play drums because they're a little bit more fancier than me. He says,
Right.
no, man. He says, you see, when you play drums, he says, I call it a lope.
Yeah.
You have a lope. And he says, most drummers don't have that lope. You have
That's
that.
right.
And I say,
That's
well, what
why,
is it?
in case
I don't know
anyone
what
don't understand the difference, when you're a singer who plays drums, you don't mind about not playing the drums. You just be out front and you sing and you're cool with it, and you can let somebody else get up there and play for you. But if you're a drummer first, you want to get there and make sure the drums and you are controlling that groove and singing it yourself.
That's right. And I used to say, as a singer who plays drums, the drummer, and I'm the drummer too. The drummer will do whatever I want him to. And when people ask me, about playing, I go, I always play the drums for the singer.
Right.
Because there are things we do almost can't see it or hear it or feel it, but there are times when we go, hey, we're going to help you right there. And we're
Yeah.
going to help you right here. And I'm going to support you right there. And you, as a
Yeah.
singer, you come off more dynamic. I believe that.
Do you consider electronic drums with your kid? I don't think you. I think of you as being a drummer man, not a electronic guy. Synthetic sound.
Well, right. Well, I've had a couple sets of electric drums, and they're fun. You start with them, and they're like, "Whoa, look at that! Here, listen to this. Hey, I turned this dial. Listen to that." Blah, 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 blah. But it really doesn't live for me the way it does when I've got to drive the backbeat home, and I start smacking that drum with my left arm. You can't smack it harder on the electric drums and have them come out any different. They just, you know what I mean? They're not the
I
same.
know what you mean.
They're not the same.
Yeah, I'm asking that question for the new modern day situation where everybody's like, I want my kid wants to play the drums, but I want something that's not, too loud. He should just be a horn player because those drums are too loud. Sorry about your bad luck. That's the only way to learn how to play is with
Yeah.
acoustic drums, and learn how to play quiet and learn how to play loud.
When I got that call to in my church, I played at a church social, and I was 15, and these guys came and they talked to me after I played, and they were kind of interested in me, but they didn't hire me. And the next year, I played that same church social, and they came back again. And this time they said, "Hey, would you like to come over and have band practice with us?" I said, "Yeah." So I said, "Dad, go on a band practice with these guys." They were all out of high school, and I'm still in high school.
Right.
So we're carrying my drums out, my golden sparkle Ludwig drums, the ones that are all
Nice.
white inside, and they
Yeah.
smell like lacquer. They were fabulous.
Yeah. Yeah.
We carried them up, and my dad, he says, "For Christ's sake, why didn't you just learn how to play the sweet potato?" He says, "You throw it in your pocket and you go." And so we laughed and whatever, and years went by. When I got my job in the club playing 6 nights a week, I had my mom and dad come down.
You're
And I
right.
told the waitress, I says, "You give them whatever they want, and you don't charge them a thing." Well, all of a sudden, my dad was going, "Hey, I love this rock and roll stuff." He was happy he had all the beer he wanted, and I loved him so much. And there was so many things happened, and I don't really think about all of it unless I'm like I am with you now. I got things going through my head that are like,
Yeah.
wow, I
Did
forgot.
you ever get people like Buddy Miles or, you know, Ginger Baker or all the different drummers out there, because you guys were doing festivals with all these different acts. Were they cool with you like, drummers are today, or were they being standoffish? How was the relationship with other drummers?
Well, I relate back to the '70s when we were popular. We were doing some of the bigger shows with every band we were playing. What happens is these bands are going to play, and they've all got their schedule. Like they're going on at 9.
Of
This band
course.
is on at 8. So you have different dressing rooms. You're not all having a game of cards over in the corner together before the shows all start. You very rarely have time to just sit and shoot the breeze with somebody. Everybody's moving in different directions. Oh yeah, and I saw drummers, man. I mean, look, uh, Buddy. I remember him. He was going to play it. He was going to warm up for Rare Earth, and his drums were set up. And I walked out to the stage after sound check, and there were the drums. And I looked down at it, and all the heads were beat to smithereens, and. And he came out, and I saw him. I said, "Buddy, how you doing? I'm Peter Rivera, man, Rare Earth." Oh, hey, how you doing? It was nice, quick, nice. And he plays that bam, 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 bam.
Them changes.
There he goes. Them changes, and I loved it. And after the shows were over, I'm talking to him behind the cage, and he says, "Hey, man, you want to go to my room and we'll just what?" I said, "Yeah." So I went to his room. And he laid down on his bed. He was tired. I sat in the chair. We talked and talked. And he says, "Hey, man," he says, "you ever had a Placidil?" I said,
What?
"Placidil." It was a
That's
pill.
a pill, obviously a pill.
It's a sleeping pill.
Okay.
So I said, "No." He says, "Well," he says, "do you want to try one?" I says, "Well, what happens?" He says, "Well, it just helps you sleep." I said, "Okay," like a dummy. I took one of these pills, and I took the pill. We talked for 10 more minutes. He says, "Well, Peter," he says, "you better head back to your room now." He said, "because in about 10 minutes, you're going to go to sleep." And I went, anyways, I did. And I woke up the next morning. It was one of the best sleeps I ever had. I never took another one, but that was my buddy. And he was a good guy. We laughed and had a good time. And I never saw him again. Never. And
Okay, I'm gonna tell you this story. I have to share this story with you.
here we go.
Like I said, you were my hero, man. And the place that you guys played in Orlando, Florida, was called the Orlando Sports Stadium, which was just a little cow shed looking building.
Was
But
this
all the rock,
sportatorium? Oh,
well, yeah, yes,
well,
in,
whatever.
in Orlando, and that's where everybody played, all the bands. But when you guys played, I went straight, ran in early before anybody, got right in front of the stage because I'm gonna see you, and I did that with Buddy too. So Buddy's on stage, he's got the drum kit right up front and center on the edge of the stage, right in the middle, and the horns are behind him on his right on a riser, and the B3 player is over there on the left, and the bass player was always by the hi-hat, and the
Yeah.
guitarist was right there on his left. But anyway, so he was on tour with Buddy Miles, Ginger Baker, and Fella Ransom QT and Kuti. And they were a big African troop group with about 30 people in it, Fella QT. Then
Yeah.
Ginger Baker came out, and his drummer, his drum tech guy was holding his belt. He was so high. He was sitting down in a squat, holding him so he wouldn't fall off the drum seat.
Oh no.
And he had duct tape holding his drumsticks together. He was like, you
Oh my.
know, so I was like, okay, now Buddy, I see Buddy's kit over there, the flag kit with the eagle on it, Buddy Miles. So they pushed the kit right in front of me, right? I'm like, oh, I'm like fanatical fan. I'm just going nuts. So the lights go dark. They walk on stage. He checks the kick. Boom, boom, boom. I'm all excited. He's right there. I can see him. I'm right at the hi-hat. The whole time the man started the show, I was yelling his name.
Yeah.
Buddy, give me a stick. I'm just going nuts, right? So Buddy's ignoring me, and he's trying to do. Yeah, we're gonna do a lot. Everybody give me a stick. So I did after about 3, 4 songs of me yelling, and the man is trying to do his show. We're gonna do a song now by old Neil Young's song "Down by the River." Bobby, give me. Hey, shut the fuck up!
Really, he did that?
Yeah, he yelled at me,
Oh,
which he
no.
should have. He should have took the stick and hit me with it.
Oh,
And
no.
and that's what I did. So I was like, "Damn, my hero just told me to shut the fuck up." So I went home, took down my buddy Miles posters, took
Yep.
my buddy Miles albums, and put them under the bed.
And
Now,
yeah,
I'm gonna tell you this. This is really funny.
keep going. Yeah.
So now I'm with BB King and I'm in San Francisco at the Fairmont Hotel,
Oh,
and we're playing, and I'm on stage with BB King, and the bass player says, "Hey man, look, there's Carlos Santana and Buddy Miles walking in." He said, "There's
oh,
your guy." Because he knew the story. He said, "There's your hero." So
oh,
Buddy Miles walk in, Carlos, they sit down, and they're looking at BB, looking at the show, talking, "Yeah, man," pointing at guys, and the whole time I'm watching Buddy. He never looked at me once. He never looked at the drum kit one time, man.
wow,
So
wow.
then after the show, I see him leave, and then I go back to say hello, and Carlos is like, "Oh yeah, good show." I said, hey man, where's Buddy?" He said, "Well, Buddy just got out of jail. He's not supposed to be anywhere where they sell alcohol. He's on probation." I said,
Oh,
"Dang." I said, "Dang." So anyway, it happens again. I get Buddy Miles in Chicago, and the guy said, "Buddy is in there. Your hero's in there." I go in and I talk to him, and I tell him that story, and then Buddy says, "I did that." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Man, I'm so sorry, man." I was like a little 14, 15-year-old kid. You should have kicked my ass for yelling so loud. He said, "So y'all never gave you the sticks?" I said, "No." So he got his drum guy to go and give me a pair of sticks. And where are they? I got them here somewhere.
wow,
God dang it. But anyway, he signed them for me and he
wow,
apologized, man. And then he would come to town and he'd ask me to sit in with him all the time. We were good
wow.
friends, man.
Great story, man. The hero. Yeah, the
And
hero.
you, and you.
Well, yeah, I had an early hero too. When we got our hit record, we started on the road and we got 5 nights in a row in Madison Square Garden,
Oh,
opening up
dang.
opening up to Sly and Family Stone.
Woo! Hello.
The place is packed. The city streets, people are walking on the streets and they're dressed to the nines, man. They're walking to the Madison Square to see Sly. We get there and Sly and them, they're in their dressing room. And I want to meet Sly.
Yeah.
I really want to. I thought he was the coolest guy in the world. And I kept sending word back via people and he no response. So they finally can't get the door open to the dressing room. So they finally get somebody there that gets the door open and Sly's in the thing, laying on the floor. And there's a girl laying on the floor. She's facing him. They're about 3 feet apart. And they're both snorting this line of blow that's on the floor. And Sly comes out and he gets on stage. Now, this is after Rare Earth played. Actually,
Right.
we were opening to him. So we played in the crowd. They kind of dug us, you know.
Yeah.
Sly comes out on stage and the lights, everything's fabulous. Here he is, the fabulous Sly. Now, you know that song, Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Boat you go daily, think about it. Boat you go daily.
Yeah.
But right? He comes out and he goes, bow, boat you go daily, think about it. Don't you go
Oh
daily.
man.
He goes, hey, have you heard this one? Hot fun in the summertime. Now he goes
Right.
on, does this, and he does a couple other things that are totally off the wall. And the crowd starts going, rare earth, rare earth, rare earth. Because they know that we just put out, we kicked our.
Right. Yeah.
And Sly, he's making a mockery of the whole thing because he's so loaded.
Right.
right? I don't know what happened the second or third night. I guess I didn't pay much attention. I think he probably did better. But years later, I'm in Wally Heider Studios in LA.
Mm-hmm.
And in the little room where you have a coffee when you're on break,
Yeah.
here's Sly sitting there with a coffee or whatever. And I come out and I see him there, and I thought, screw it. And I just walked away. I never even said, hey, I didn't want to say, I always wanted to meet you, but you lost me, man. You lost me. And so that was very hurtful for me because he was big time guy to me. I thought he was unbelievable.
Well,
All I wanted to do was meet him and say, hey, man, I met Sly. He was so cool.
I love Sly Stone to this day. His band are my family, man. Those guys,
Well,
all of them, and his daughter's out there representing him. But you know what I feel about that, man, and
that was
as musicians, there's a lot of people out there helping you get screwed up, man.
yeah, that's true. Helping you.
There's a lot of people out there helping you be where they be in a position where they could take advantage of you by feeding you drugs and stuff that you don't need. A lot of scavengers out there in the music business, especially when you become as successful as Sly Stone and yourself. You know, you've seen it in your band. Just, oh, let's give them this. Let's keep pumping it up so they can hang around, like vultures,
Yeah.
So, hey man, I don't know anybody in the rock and roll business, especially you guys, because you was in there when drugs was like the thing, man, to get. I mean, Grateful Dead and all the stuff you hear about the
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
spiking the stuff with orange sunshine and psilocybin, drug use, man, and you become a very, very successful guy in the business, a woman, everybody got drugs.
Oh, no. I look back, I kind of wish I had a do over, but I don't know, because I don't. But
Peter, look, you
I didn't
don't you
want to
don't
feel, you know.
Peter, listen. I'm thankful that you're still here playing, man, because like I said, Sly Stone, all of you guys, man, you guys were my heroes. I'm 69. I'll be 70 in August, but man, I just want to I thank you for letting me learn
Yeah.
from you. I learned from all you guys musically speaking, and even some of the things that happened with the drug use and stuff. I've been very fortunate that I never got into that. But that thing has taken out a lot of my colleagues and friends, drug use and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
how many musicians do we know that aren't here anymore because of that?
Well, look, I'm the only rare earth guy left. Everyone else
Right.
is dead. Now, they didn't all die from necessarily drugs, but abuse of some kind over time. I think, I don't know. I'm the last guy standing here, and that's okay with me. I want to keep on standing. I just got married three weeks ago. I want to
Yeah.
keep standing. So I don't know. It's the greatest business in the world, and it's the heartbreaking too. It can
Yeah, it
really,
is.
really goof you up, But
But
when
look, man,
you sit down and the bass is playing the bass and the guitar is playing and other human beings, and you guys have achieved a feel, there isn't much that there isn't hardly anything that matches that.
no, it isn't.
I
But
mean,
listen, you're
it is
still
good.
here. You're still here, and that's a beautiful thing. And you got those drums behind you, and you still on them, man. So
Well,
bless you, bro.
thank you, man. Well, thank you. Bless you too. I look back and I'm trying to think, remember, where did this Coleman, man, I played with him. I know I did. You say it was that part of my memory, I think, is gone. I don't know. Part of it. It's out there. I could think of it, but it's tough trying to remember.
Well, I
Like
know.
I always say, people go, "Oh yeah, I saw you in Raleigh, North Carolina." I go, "You were the guy in the blue shirt," and he can't remember. He goes, "Well, I don't know." I said, "Yeah, you were the blue shirt," and I'll just walk away. Just having fun
Yes.
with people. having fun with it, man. I just
Yeah, I know. That's what we do, especially as drummers. Look back down here so I can see you, your face.
back
Look at
down
me.
here, yeah.
No, that's all right. I just have to remind you because, hey, man, I know how it is. I be wanting to look up at myself too, man.
No, no, I'm looking at you on my big screen.
Right. I
Maybe
know.
my eyes come off of there. Sorry about that, man. I'm
No,
telling
thank you,
you.
Peter Rivera. Thank you, man. Thank you for being on my podcast, man.
Tony, may Lord bless Tony. He deserves it, man. You're a very very sincere cat, and
Thank you, man.
more of you in this world, man. Really,
Oh, thanks, man.
you're a good cat, and you've been around. You got a tremendous history. I mean, you rattle off the people you played with. I just went, wow, because I know it's not
Yeah.
for me. It's not easy to play with a lot of different cats.
No, it's not.
See, that's because you're one of those play everything warriors guys. I'm not.
Well,
You know, I can
well,
only I can only play what I sing.
yeah, well, you a badass singer, man, and you and Buddy Miles, man. Before we go, I'm gonna say then now since those 10 people I said, and I didn't mention your name, but I had to go back and correct it, so those people won't have to curse me out anymore on
Uh-oh.
social media. Hey man, what about Peter? Man, what the hell's wrong with you? But
Yeah. Yeah.
you and Buddy Miles for me, starting out on drums. Then every other singing drummer that became successful, Karen Carpenter,
Oh yeah.
Levon Helm. Then I noticed the singers in the Doobie Brothers, which had a singing drummer. Keith Knudsen used to sing. He
Yeah.
was a
Yeah. Yeah.
friend of mine with the Doobie Brothers. And then, of course, Don Henley with the Eagles. And then my good friend, my badass producer friend, Mr. Narada Michael Walden, singing and playing drums.
Oh,
And Harold Brown with War. He used to sing a couple of songs with War
yeah.
and play the drums.
Yeah.
And all those and Phil Collins. I mean, you know the ones I'm. But singing drummers, man, that's just cool, man. To see the guy singing.
Yeah. And it took me a long time to get away from being in the back of the band to being up front. But now when I set up, I know that I'm the front man now. And
Yeah,
I'm on the drums. And I want to talk to the people and I want to laugh with them and do stuff with them.
that's
And
right,
I can
man.
only do that when I'm up front. So everybody else is to my sides, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's not an ego thing. It's
No, man, you need to be seen, man.
yeah,
Don't
you need,
stand in front of me, man. I don't like singing to people's asses. Get your ass over.
well, it was. I was just oh man, I was thinking about songs like that Sly. That thank you for letting me be myself. That was probably in my top 5 all-time favorite songs.
Of course.
Another all-time favorite was "She's a Brick."
House. Yeah, he was singing drum.
What a
Singing.
groove! What a groove!
Yeah.
And the last one was the Humpty Dump, do the Humpty, do the Humpty Hump. It came out years ago.
Was it a drummer singing that?
No, it wasn't, but it was just the Humpty.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I know the song.
Baddest groove, man. It's one of these grooves that are so thick you could bathe yourself in it, man. It's just so.
And Sheila E. and Sheila E. Okay, if we're
Sheila
gonna
E.
name all the singer drummers, let's make sure we get as many as possible. But I know we love them all.
Well, when I was a young man in Detroit, there was a girl there who I can't even remember her name. She played with a big band, and she was really cool. And you know what? I've never heard another word out of her.
Oh wow!
I don't know what happened to her. Maybe she got married and gave it up, but she was unbelievable. Just a great big band drummer.
Yeah, yeah.
And I looked at her and I just went, holy cow, how did she learn all this? Funny thing is, I never heard of her again. I don't know where she was.
Oh,
Life goes on, man.
yeah. Well, thank you. I love you, man.
I love you too, Tony. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you for being here. And we're gonna play together. We're gonna play together, man.
All right, let's play together, man. You want to play? I'll play.
And
I
we'll
have
and we'll and we
have drums. We'll travel.
and we'll sing and play together too, side
All
by
right,
side.
all right, all right.